Guys, Elite Fijaron here, and today I am going to do analysis on the episode name Corrosion's Night Deal, Alliance with Enemies or a Trap. So, this is an episode of Toxicus, and this is the continuation of what happened in the previous episode. In the previous episode, if you remember, Corrosion made a deal with Mimic Leviathan to come at midnight. And the episode starts with Mimic Leviathan bringing T-70 to tank, and then a few side mechanics arrive and check him. And then he says, the Mimic Leviathan says, the subject has been delivered, alive but barely holding on. I think so, he's the chief repairman of this team. I think so, that small tank is the chief repairman of this team. And then he says, there's something more important. We need to report to Leviathan immediately. And then he says, one of Toxicus' subordinates contacted me. He wants a secret meeting tonight. And then the Soviet Union chief says, a trap, obviously. Agreed. Then the German leader says, agreed. Toxic zombies don't know the meaning of word alliance. Then Mimic Leviathan says, but what if it was true? What if someone inside their faction wants to defect? This is a chance. And then Leviathan says, there's a risk, but also an opportunity. We can't ignore. I'll go with him. If it's an ambush, they won't leave alive. And then here we can see Toxicus saying, this metal is alive, but resisting. Interesting. Resisting what, bro? I didn't understand. I think so, resisting the Toxical into becoming Toxicus minion. And then here we can see Corrosion inserting something with his blades into a device. I think so, which gives information about which if portals open of technodemons. And then he says, and then the system says, activation of technodemons portal in sector C11. And then Corrosion says, Toxicus, master, a signal from outside, likely an enemy resonance. And then he says, bulwark. Why did he name it bulwark? Stronghold is so good, bro. Why did he name it bulwark? Bulwark. Nah, bro, this name is too not good. I am gonna name him Stronghold. And then Toxicus says, bulwark. Escort them. Investigate and eliminate. And then Corrosion and the very name Bulwark, who I am going to call Stronghold, leave. And then Bulwark, Stronghold says, I don't see anything. Are you sure there are enemies there? Here. And then Corrosion says, the signal is unstable. I suggest we split up. If someone is here, we'll find them faster. And then they split up and Corrosion speeds up. And then here we can see Mimic Leviathan and Leviathan standing behind a tree. What? And Corrosion appears out of the gas, and then he says, you're not that stupid. You didn't come here alone. You can stop hiding your friend. I can still feel his engine. And he says, who are? And then Leviathan says, who are you? Questions later. We don't have much time. I can help you get rid of Toxicus. here we can see that corrosion still did get a moral. Anyways, he doesn't care, and I don't care. If Toxicus stops, it is a benefit to us, because we stole him. We took him to get his powers, but he, like, what? He became himself a king and started ruling the world. And then Mimic Leviathan says, "And why should we trust you?" Corrosion says, "Because I am his right hand and I don't want to become someone else's tool. What do you want in return?" And then Leviathan says, "What do you want and what?" And then Corrosion says, "Power. I want to become stronger so I can break my connection to him. Help me and I'll help you." Mimic Leviathan says, "Too good to be true. You nearly slit my throat." And then Corrosion says, "Oh, don't exaggerate. I'm sure you have been in worse situations." And then Stronghold comes and says, "Corrosion, step away from them. They're enemies." And then he pulls out his blade and tries to attack. And then Stronghold pushes Mimic Leviathan. And then Leviathan comes and pushes Stronghold. Legendary scene which proves friendship. And then they start attacking. And only God Leviathan is attacking. And then Corrosion gives a signal to them, but Leviathan does not understand. Corrosion says, "Go away," but he did not understand that. And then Leviathan pulls his old move and uses flames. And then Corrosion opens his blade and then goes to attack Leviathan, but Leviathan puts on a shield. And then he says to Stronghold, "They're too strong, we're wasting time." Bulwark, again Bulwark. Why is his name Bulwark, bro? Why does his name have to be Bulwark? Be Stronghold. Bulwark, fall back. Report to the master. There are serious opponents here. Yeah. And he says, yeah. Bro, he is like the strongest tank now. And he is losing to some small, eeny meeny tanks. I am not like what? It doesn't mean that I don't like them. Sorry. It doesn't mean that I don't like Mimic Leviathan or God Leviathan. It's just that they're like too weak. I should not call them weak, but they, in my side, they're not that weak. They're very strong. And then Mimic Leviathan says, "Do you think she..." Wait, bro. So Corrosion is a girl? Oh. What? Why did you call him she? I don't know. Let's continue. She was telling the truth. Even if she wasn't, a light can still be a weapon. And the important thing is knowing where to point a blade. And then they both back up. And then the camera lifts up. And then in a distance we can see who I think so is Toxicus viewing the whole battle. And if that is Toxicus, Corrosion is doomed, bro. If we even watch that he made a deal with Mimic Leviathan and God Leviathan, he's dead. He's literally dead. He's done and dusted out of this world. Okay, that's it for today. And if you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. And this is Light Fish John signing out.